Quincy Wilson walked back onto a high school track after winning an Olympic gold medal. Let that sit for a second. Most athletes would take the money, take the contracts, take the global tours. He went back to class. He went back to Bullis School in Maryland, back to running against teenagers after already beating the fastest adults on the entire planet. And every single kid on every single track across the country had one goal: beat the Olympian. That is the world Quincy Wilson has been living in since Paris 2024. Born on January 8, 2008, Wilson became the youngest male athletics Olympic champion in history when he helped Team USA win gold in the men's 4x400 meter relay at the Paris Olympics. He was 16 years old. 16. While his classmates were stressing over homework and college applications, this kid from Potomac, Maryland had a gold medal sitting on his dresser, and instead of turning professional, he chose to go back and finish what he started at Bullis School. But here is where the story gets painful before it gets glorious. April 2025, the Penn Relays. Franklin Field, Philadelphia, the oldest and largest track and field competition in the United States. The ultimate prize for any high school relay team is the Championship of America wheel, and Bullis wanted it badly. Wilson lined up on the anchor leg alongside teammates Mickey Green, Cam Homer, and Colin Abrams. When the baton hit Wilson's hand, he ran a split of 43.99 seconds. That is not a typo. 43.99. The team crossed the line in 3 minutes 6.31 seconds, completely destroying a 40-year-old United States high school national record. And they still lost. Kingston College from Jamaica crossed the line in 3 minutes 5.93 seconds. They broke a record that had stood for 4 decades, and it was not enough. That loss does not leave you. It follows you into every single training session until you get the chance to fix it. April 25, 2026, the 130th running of the Penn Relays. Cold weather, relentless rain. Franklin Field packed wall to wall with fans who knew exactly what was on the line. Kingston College was the defending champion. Actually, they were the 4-time defending champion, winning every single year dating back to 2022. No American team had won this race since Long Beach Poly in 2007. Quincy Wilson was not even born yet when that happened. The Jamaican programs treat sprinting like a national religion. They arrive with tactical precision and an intimidating level of confidence that has crushed American programs for nearly 2 decades. But this was Wilson's senior year, his 4th and final chance to claim that wheel before graduating. He had an Olympic gold medal. He had 4 consecutive New Balance indoor national championships, a feat that had never been accomplished in the history of that competition. But he had never won at Penn. That gap in his resume was the one thing left unfinished. Bullis sent out Zion Saxton on the opening leg. Saxton, a freshman, had just won the New Balance indoor national title at that distance. Opening legs are brutal, pure chaos, tight traffic, every team trying to establish position simultaneously. Saxton handled it and passed the baton clean to Cameron Homer. Homer was not new to this moment. He was on the 2025 team that broke the national record and still lost. He knew this track, knew this crowd, knew exactly what the moment demanded. Jamaica College and Kingston College were right there, applying pressure, not giving an inch. Homer passed the baton to Gideon Newton, who had one singular assignment: keep Quincy Wilson within reach when he takes that final baton. Newton ran himself completely empty to do exactly that. And then came the moment Bullis had been building toward for 4 years. For the first time in his entire Penn Relays career, Quincy Wilson received the baton in the lead. Every previous year he had been chasing. Every previous year he had been fighting from behind. Not this time. Newton slammed the baton into Wilson's palm, and he exploded. Archbishop Carroll came charging hard. The crowd hit a volume that rattled the concrete walls of Franklin Field. Wilson hit a split of 45.58 seconds. Nobody else in that entire field, except one athlete, even cracked 46 seconds. He crossed the finish line, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, an American team won the Championship of America in the 4x400 meter relay. Bullis took first. Archbishop Carroll took second. America went 1-2. The Championship of America wheel returned to the United States. This was not just a high school relay win. To fully understand what Quincy Wilson has built, you need the full picture. 4 straight New Balance indoor national championships from 2023 to 2026. A world youth record of 44.10 seconds in the 400 meters, a time fast enough to rank him among the top 40 fastest men in the history of the event. He beat professional Olympian Bryce Deadmon not once, but twice. He finished 4th in the entire world in the 400 meters in 2025, not 4th among teenagers, 4th on Earth. He committed to the University of Maryland, choosing home over every blue blood program in the country, and now he leaves Bullis School with the one thing that had been missing: a Penn Relays championship. Quincy Wilson is 18 years old. Only 29 men in history have ever broken 44 seconds in the 400 meters. He already sits at 44.0. The gap is closing. The sport has never seen anything like this from a high schooler, and based on everything he has done from 2023 through 2026, it is only getting started. Noah Lyles got married on April 4, 2026. 13 days later, he stepped into starting blocks at a small meet in Florida. No Olympics on the line. No World Championship crowd. Just a man 2 weeks past his wedding, fresh off 7 months away from his best event. He ran 19.91 seconds, the fastest time in the entire field, and that was only day one. The ceremony happened at the conservatory at Blackberry Ridge in Trenton, Georgia. The theme was all shades of melanin, brown and gold everywhere. The suits, the bridesmaid gowns, the flowers. Noah Lyles married Jamaican sprinter Janelle Bramfield in front of everyone they loved, but the moment that stopped people had nothing to do with speed. Lyles had kept a secret for weeks. Janelle's favorite gospel singer, Tasha Cobbs Leonard, showed up and performed at the reception. Nobody knew it was coming, not even Janelle. Then came the vows. Janelle's hands shook so badly she could not hold her vow book, so Lyles held it for her. Both of them were crying at the altar. He told Vogue afterward, "I ended up holding it for her, but I was also crying so I couldn't wipe away my own tears." Janelle grew up in poverty in Jamaica. She was raised by a single mother alongside 7 siblings. Her mother passed away in 2021 from stage 4 cervical cancer. Walking down that aisle was proof of everything her mother had prayed for. Lyles thought Janelle would wear a mermaid dress. He is known to dislike that style. She walked out in a princess dress instead. His reaction went viral. The internet said he did not show enough excitement. Janelle shut it down herself. She said his reaction was exactly what she needed. The couple had been together since 2022. They got baptized together in October 2025. They announced their engagement that same month. And now, with the wedding behind them, most people assumed Lyles would take time off. He did not. April 17th, 2026, the Tom Jones Memorial Invitational in Gainesville, Florida. This is not a Diamond League event. It is a Continental Tour Challenger meet. Athletes use it to shake off rust and test their shape without the pressure of a major title on the line. Lyles had not run the 200 meters since winning the world title in Tokyo in September 2025. That is 7 months away from his best event. He had also skipped the World Athletics Indoor Championships entirely. The dates fell too close to his April 4th wedding, and he chose Janelle. Now, just 13 days after the ceremony, he was back in the blocks. In the first heat of the Olympic Development 200-meter race, Lyles crossed the line in 19.91 seconds. Wind reading of plus 1.6 meters per second. Legal and fast. That time was the best in the men's 200-meter field across all 6 heats. Behind him, 2025 USA Outdoor Championships finalist Max Thomas ran 19.98 seconds. That was the first time Thomas had ever broken 20 seconds in his career. And then there was 18-year-old Tate Taylor. He ran 20.05 seconds. That time broke the high school record that Noah Lyles himself had set years earlier at 20:09. Let that land. The next generation came to Gainesville chasing Lyles' old records. Lyles came to Gainesville 2 weeks after his wedding and beat every single one of them. But here is where it gets more interesting. 2 months before the wedding, Lyles competed at the USATF Indoor Championships in Staten Island, New York. He ran the 60 meters. He finished 3rd. The man who won that race was Jordan Anthony. Anthony posted 6.45 seconds. Lyles ran 6.51 and finished behind both Anthony and Trayvon Bramall. After the race, Jordan Anthony told reporters, "Lyles was just bringing old age right now." That quote spread fast. The Olympic 100-meter champion, the 4-time 200-meter world champion, getting called old by his own training partner at Pure Athletics. So what happened next? The morning after Lyles ran 19.91 seconds in the 200 meters, he came back to the track for a 4x100-meter relay. His team was called Gainesville Elite. The lineup included Jordan Anthony, Trayvon Bramall, and 18-year-old British sprinter Jaco Jordan. Together they ran 37.78 seconds. They beat the national squad, and Jordan Anthony, the same man who called Lyles old just 2 months earlier, ran a personal best of 9.91 seconds in the individual 100 meters that same day. Anthony was still running brilliantly. Nobody took anything away from him, but Lyles anchored the team that beat everyone. Remember the fans' year comment? Before the 2026 season started, Lyles said publicly, "I've decided to take this year and say this is a fans' year in our sport. That is not a man stepping back. That is a man building something." On May 17th, he races the 100 meters at the Seiko Golden Grand Prix in Tokyo, the same city where he won bronze at the 2021 Olympics while battling depression, the same city where he stood in front of 59,000 people in September 2025 and held up 4 fingers after winning his 4th consecutive 200-meter world title. On June 4th, he headlines the 100 meters at the Rome Diamond League Golden Gala. He has not raced that meet since a famous 200-meter battle with Michael Norman in 2019. He has called that race one of his all-time favorites. On June 28th, he runs the Paris Diamond League at the Stade de France. The exact track, the exact stadium, the same surface where 2 years ago he ran 9.79 seconds and became the fastest man in the world at the distance. He currently holds 6 Diamond League titles. One more gives him the outright all-time record. A man who got married on April 4th, who cried at the altar holding his wife's vow book, who had not run the 200 meters in 7 months, who had been called old by his training partner in March. 13 days after the wedding, he ran 19.91 seconds, anchored a relay team to a 37.78 the next morning, beat the teenager who broke his own high school record.
She hadn't raced 800 meters in 8 years. Her last time was 2 minutes 19 seconds. On February 8, 2026, she stepped onto the track in Metz, France, with 0 professional experience at this distance. She crossed the finish line in 1 minute 59.07 seconds. A national record. On her debut. Nobody expected this. And once you hear the full story, you will understand exactly why this is one of the boldest moves in track history. Femke Bol was born on February 23, 2000, in Amersfoort, Netherlands. She started running at 14. By 15, she was already winning Dutch national titles in the 400 meters. In 2019, her coach asked her to try the hurdles. She had never done it before. She won the European Under-20 hurdles title that same summer. She had been hurdling for only a few months. In early 2023, she broke an indoor 400-meter world record that had stood since 1982. She ran 49.26 seconds at the Dutch Nationals and erased Jarmila Kratochvalova's 41-year-old record like it had never existed. She later lowered it again to 49.16 seconds. At the 2023 World Championships in Budapest, she fell face first on the relay track just before the finish line and lost the baton. 3 days later, she came back and won her first individual world title in the 400 meters hurdles. Then she anchored the women's relay team to gold from behind. Sports journalists called it the fall and rise of Femke Bol. By 2025, she had 30 consecutive Diamond League victories, 5 Diamond League titles, 2 World Championship titles, 4 Olympic medals. She had won everything. But here is the part nobody talks about. Every single time Femke Bol raced Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, she lost. 3 races, 3 losses, 0 wins. Sydney's world record sits at 50.37 seconds. Femke's personal best is 50.95 seconds. That 0.58 second gap sounds small. It is not. Sydney has lowered her world record at every major global championship this decade. The gap was not closing. It was staying the same. And Sydney kept running. Sydney's world record scores 1,322 points on the World Athletics scoring tables. That is higher than any other women's track world record in existence. Not just in hurdles, any event, anywhere. She stayed. She went undefeated in 2025. She won her 2nd world title in Tokyo, finishing half a second ahead of the entire field, with a time of 51.54 seconds. Then Naomi finally agreed. The timing was right. On October 10, 2025, Femke posted a video on Instagram. She flipped through a diary showing her career highlights. When she turned the final page, it simply read, 800 meters. Running the 400 meters hurdles brought me dreams I didn't dare to dream about, she wrote. But I still have big dreams. She was not taking a break. She was not experimenting. She was walking away permanently from the event that made her famous, to race a distance she had not touched since she was 17 years old. Her last 800-meter time was 2 minutes 19.51 seconds from 2017. The world record is 1 minute 53.28 seconds. She had 3 years until the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics to close that gap. But could her body actually handle it? Stay with this, because the answer will surprise you. The 400-meter hurdles is an explosive event. It uses short burst energy and speed over 10 barriers in about 50 seconds. The 800 meters is completely different. It needs aerobic fitness, tactical positioning in a tight pack, and the ability to hold a hard pace for nearly 2 full minutes without slowing down. Back in February 2023, Femke set a world indoor best for 500 meters, running 1 minute 5.63 seconds. That time was 0.68 seconds faster than the second fastest woman ever at that distance. Her coach had been talking openly about her 800-meter potential since that very race. Her body was always built for this. She just needed the right moment. At the Mets meeting in France on February 8, 2026, cameras crowded the start. British commentator Tim Hutchins called the moment truly historic before the race had even begun. Femke lined up against established 800-meter runners. She had no professional record at this distance. Nobody in the building knew what was about to happen. She ran the first 400 meters in 56.66 seconds. Controlled. On pace. She hit 600 meters in 1 minute 28.86 seconds, while holding her rhythm at the point where most first-time runners begin to fall apart. Swiss runners Valentina Rosolia and Laura Hoffman pressed hard in the final straight. Femke's sprint background kicked in, and she held them off. After the race, Femke described it as a jump into the deep. She said she had a lot of fun. Then 9 days later, a foot tendon injury forced her to withdraw from the rest of the indoor season. But she had already said everything that needed to be said in 1 minute 59 seconds. Now comes the real problem. Keely Hodkinson is the British Olympic 800-meter champion. Her world indoor record stands at 1 minute 54